local school. Conference, I have no faith whatsoever in this government's ability to get a deal for working people to address these very issues. No faith the government will pass Labour's 6 tests. Because the reality out there is that imports in food, in manufacturing, in pharmaceuticals, in energy, in health, right across our country, workers and employers alike are telling me that there is no plan. The Prime Minister is held hostage by her own ministers. She has no plan A, let alone a plan B, no deal, no security, no clue, not even the confidence of her own people. But if Theresa May is so confident and assured of her deal, well, let's put it to the test then. Let's let the people decide. Because that conference is what we do as trade unionists, day in, day out. We negotiate the best possible deal, then we put it back to our members for them to decide. And that's even more essential as the mask of the Tory Brexiteers continues to slip. Only yesterday, they cheered extreme proposals that would take an axe to working time directive proposals. Theresa May should have condemned Boris Johnson and Michael Gove for their conduct and lies. Instead, she gave them a bloody job in her cabinet. It's a scandal conference. So this is the crux of the entire debate. In whose interests do the government negotiate? Hardline Tory toffs who are holding the Prime Minister to ransom. For the spivs and speculators. For the cosy capitalist cabal. Their mate Donald Trump at the front of the queue when they're already circling our NHS. For the bosses and bankers who care not about what led us here in the first place. They care just about the bottom line bank balance. Conference, that Brexit would be a disaster. For those of us who believe in equality, in social justice and a fairer economy. We need workplace rights that allow workers to really take back control of their lives. An end to freeloading, free trading, tax dodging by multinationals like Amazon, who make billions on the back of mainstreaming insecure workers while shirking their responsibility to the taxpayers. It would mean real investment in communities that were decimated by Thatcher and never truly rebuilt. And it would mean an end to austerity that is crippling communities, killing public services, so sending people, working people, to food banks. So, Conference, I'll conclude with this. If Theresa May can't get a deal that works for working people, then step aside. Let's have a general election. Let's get a party in government that will get a deal for working people. Conference, I'm proud to move. Thank you.
Good morning, Conference. Jane Begley from Exeter CLP. This is my first time at Conference and my first time as a speaker. I certainly didn't expect to come to Liverpool. Certainly didn't expect to come to Liverpool and be addressing you all on such a pivotal issue. Nervous comes nowhere near to describing how I'm feeling right now. It's a great honour and a privilege to stand before you today to second this motion, a motion we worked on till midnight on Sunday evening. Such was our commitment to finding a solution. I feel passionately about being part of the European Union, and when I joined the party in 2015, my first introduction to canvassing was pounding the streets in support of Remain. The result was a crushing disappointment. Even though in Exeter we achieved a 55% vote to Remain. I was disappointed, not just for myself, but for my then 15-year-old daughter, who was angry that she didn't get a vote, yet she and all her friends, the young people of this country, are the ones who will be most impacted by this result, badly impacted by this result. YouGov reported that over 70% of under-25s voted Remain. I came of age with the belief that it was the duty of each generation to improve the lot of the generations that follow them. Brexit is another example of how my generation, and this government in particular, have comprehensively screwed over our young people. When I went to university, not only was it free, but I was paid to go. My wonderful and intelligent, now 17-year-old daughter has serious doubts and may not pursue a degree because she is so put off by the prospect of acquiring a burden of debt. And I share her anger. In May, I was elected to Exeter City Council, taking a seat from the Tories. I represent a ward that contains both areas of affluence and areas of deprivation. The concerns of the doorstep about Brexit did not come from the poorest areas of the ward, and this was reflected across our country, where the poorest and most disenfranchised were those who voted most decisively to leave. I do believe it was a vote against the status quo, a vote against austerity, and a vote against David Cameron, the worst possible poster boy for the Remain campaign, who promptly turned on his heels and ran away. The shambolic way in which the Tory government have conducted their so-called negotiations have shown us all how inadequate they are to the task of sorting out the unholy mess they have created. As a second-generation Irish immigrant who was raised with the perpetual backdrop of the Troubles on the national news in the 1970s, I am offended by the cavalier carelessness they have shown towards concerns about the Irish border. The risk of a no-deal Brexit is terrifyingly imminent. What we desperately need is a general election to move the Tories aside and let us hand the task to Keir Starmer and our superb leadership team, a team that has relentlessly and consistently worked with the greatest integrity, inspiring more trust and hope than I have ever felt for any politicians. Thousands like me have become activated to do all they can to become part of the change we want to see. This has been reflected in the number of people we have heard from over the last few days who are here at conference and speaking for the first time. Whilst I personally would love for us to remain in the EU, we must take care that by committing wholeheartedly to another referendum at this stage, we do not alienate all of those people across great swathes of our nation who with sincerity voted leave. The risk is that they may then dismiss us as being just the same as all the rest and not listening to their concerns. This is why I ask you, conference, to support this motion, a motion that does not bind but empowers our leadership to negotiate through the unpredictable times ahead. Thank you, conference. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Next contemporary composite 6 on government contracts has been moved by Unison, and could Blaydon CLP be ready to second? Point of order. You just hold fire. We've got a point of order. Just hang fire. Yeah, could the point of order come forward?
I'm here from St Austell and Newquay, CLP. My point of order is that we haven't all got copies of the report today, and that seems bad planning, knowing how many delegates are here. And it means that we can't take the best possible position in the debate because we haven't got the information. And I, for one, haven't got the technology to read it on a smartphone or anything that I can properly read. So I would like to request that more copies are printed and that more copies are provided tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, that was raised, so CAC will be dealing with that. Dave?